Today we'll be talking about using Vision software to connect to your B&W Tek portable Raman instrument. Vision is a comprehensive spectroscopy software supporting the Metronome spectrometer product lines. It has functions for spectral data acquisition, qualitative and quantitative model development, and real-time routine analysis for multi-component process monitoring. It can be interfaced to a control system and includes system testing for the instruments in accordance with the USP and European pharmacopoeias. Vision is available in the 21 CFR Part 11 compliant as well as a non-compliant version. The version of Vision released in July 2021 supports the B&W Tek product lines including the iRaman Plus, Pro, and Prime families, the iRaman EX, and the PT-RAM instruments. Vision is the standard software for the PT-RAM process development instrument. With this version of Vision, the instrument drivers for your B&W Tek instruments are installed automatically during the software installation. It also features an updated Raman configuration that is more Raman-centric across the entire interface. Vision includes the performance test in compliance with USP 858 for all the supported Raman instruments. It also includes the display of your dark scan as well as the raw spectrum of your current scan, though these are not saved. The data that are saved are the relative intensity corrected spectrum. When the instrument-specific files for the performance verification and the relative intensity correction, the ratio 3 files, are in the C Vision folder, these are automatically loaded within the software on connection to the appropriate instrument. When you install the Vision software, as noted, the instrument drivers are installed during the installation process. After installing the software, the instrument-specific files should be copied into the C Vision folder. These include for a PT-RAM instrument 2 ratio 3 files, which are the relative intensity correction files that are specific to the instrument, where the C code is the identifier of the instrument and the probe serial number with that as well. Also, the performance verification files should be copied to the C Vision folder, as well as a Raman initiation file. The Vision software and the polystyrene validation cap for performance tests are included with the PT-RAM instruments. It must be ordered separately, as well as Vision software being ordered separately for the iRaman series portable Raman instruments. I'll first talk about the features and then move over to Vision to walk you through the steps. The default user has System Manager access and is Raman with the same password. This System Manager can create developer, operator, and routine analysis operators. Before you acquire your new data, you want to configure to change to the Raman workspace. So when you open Vision and create a new project, you'll want to go to Configuration and choose the Raman technology. This will customize the workspace configuration for all Raman experiments. This includes setting the x-axis display to be in the correct units of Raman shift and the y-axis as relative intensity. It will also introduce a tab to view the current dark scan as well as the raw spectrum for the most recently collected spectrum. And there will be updated Raman-centric language on all the menus from data acquisition through the analysis modes of quantitative and qualitative analysis. You'll also want to go to the options, and you'll note that the relative intensity correction cannot be turned off. This function corrects for the instrument variations from one instrument to another, which affects the relative peak intensities of collected spectra, and it is on because it is highly recommended to use this setting as it makes transferability and comparison of data across instruments much better. You'll also see that there's an auto Raman shift option, which is related and applicable only to the PT RAM. The PT RAM includes an internal reference channel, and the software then checks instrument status and will run this Raman shift calibration based on the triggers that are set or at every scan of a sample. It's also recommended to use the options of having the instrument stabilized before data acquisition and performance test passing before data acquisition. Then when you connect to an instrument, you will want to choose the Metron B&W Tek series instrument drivers. The instruments are connected via USB, and the drivers can be seen under the device manager to see that they are properly connected and configured. These are the only settings that are needed to make the connection to the instrument. Once that connection is made, then you will be prompted to create a data collection method, and this is instrument specific, so the software identifies the instrument, so the model and the range for the instrument will be identified and not editable by a user. What the user can set are the integration time, whether or not an external trigger can be used, and that will depend on the probe that's attached, whether that option is available to the user, and the number of averages and the percent laser power that can be set. The integration time is always in milliseconds within the Vision software, and the averages can be used to improve your signal to noise ratio. Laser power is set from 1 to 100% which is full laser power of the system attached. On connection to a B&W Tek instrument, the Vision instrument status dialog will also appear with identifying information of the connected instrument. So it includes the serial number, system model, and other identifying information, including this unique C code, which is also used in the naming of the relative intensity correction files, which here are loaded already. But if they had not been loaded, then the user can select to load the files and they will automatically be copied to the C Vision folder. This also displays the detector temperature, and here one can also change the acquisition parameters and choose to use an auto integration time. If the acquisition parameters are changed here, then a user will be forced to update their DCM, their data collection method, when saving a spectrum if these settings are different than the selected DCM. So now I'd like to turn to the Vision software and walk you through these steps. So we will open a new project here in Vision, and we'll call this Connect. Creating that database Connect in the default location. So we'll configure the data source by selecting the B&W Tek series instrument, click OK, and before we acquire new data, we'll use existing data and go to our configurations. So we'll first go to Configure, Configuration, and we'll want to select Raman as the technology. As noted, this will then ensure that the language is appropriate for Raman in all the user interfaces and that the axes labels are correct. Clicking Next, we also have the option to configure other miscellaneous settings on how things are displayed and analysis done throughout the Vision software. The lamp timer is relevant only to your near-infrared instruments. Your laser is only on during data acquisition for a Raman instrument. We'll also want to go under Configure Options, And under the options, we see that we have the relative intensity ratio file here, the auto shift for the PTRAM, and I am connected to a PTRAM now, as well as the options for the performance test and instrument stabilization. This is for this project, and we can look at it for the overall system project defaults. So I'll want to now connect to an instrument, and I do that by going to Acquire, Connect. You see the instrument status dialog is open, and the connection was made to my instrument, and I'm prompted to create a data collection method. So I will do this, and you'll see that the status dialog is in the background here. It has auto-loaded the ratio files. For the PTRAM that I have loaded, there are two ratio files because I have the sample channel. So this is the C code of the instrument, and this is the serial number of the probe attached, and this is the ratio file for the internal reference channel, which we use for running performance tests. These are the current settings for data acquisition, but I don't have a DCM created, so I will do that now. Clicking New, you see that it has identified the instrument and the range. These are non-editable. It notes reference standardization used, which actually indicates that the relative intensity correction is applied for your Raman instrument. And I'll give this a name, PTRAM 150, 150 signifying that I'm using an integration time of 150 milliseconds. I now have that. Okay, and we're now connected to an instrument and can start to scan data. So with that, I've gone over the connection to a B&W Tek PTRAM instrument. Vision is the standard software for the PTRAM instrument, and BW Spec is standard for the other iRaman series instruments, with the following exceptions of the STRAM, where BWID Pharma is standard, and QTRAM, for which BW Analyst is standard. But all of these instruments can be operated with the Vision software. But for the STRAM, the BWID is required for the see-through function and algorithms. Vision software is included with the PTRAM instrument, but must be ordered separately for the other systems. And the performance tests, in accordance with USP 858, are included for all of the instruments. The polystyrene validation cap must be ordered separately.